If you're someone suffering with ALS, maybe just weakness that's getting progressively worse and you don't know what it is, maybe you've not even been officially diagnosed, but you know something's not right and you just need to get answers. I'm going to tell you, I've been in practice now for almost 30 years, and we're going to do things differently here, where we focus on your connection between your brain and your cells. And we have methods and techniques and technologies that really, really work. So I would encourage you to watch this video if this is something that you're interested in and you're open-minded to new things. I think this video we're going to show you is going to educate you on possibilities. It's going to give you hope for this condition, and it's going to give you answers that maybe you never thought of. So I hope you enjoy it.
Hello, I am Cameron, and today I'm here with Dr. Chris Cormier. Hello, Dr. Cormier.
Hi, Cameron.
Today we're going to be talking about ALS. Dr. Cormier, to start simply, what is ALS in plain language?
So it's big words, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Basically what it means, it's an autoimmune condition that where you start to lose function in motor neurons throughout the body. So motor means that's power out from your brain to your muscles in particular. And that power out, that light energy going out from the brain, gives muscles power. So if you think about it, a muscle won't work without a nerve connection to the brain. Mm-hmm. And so that outward flow to make a muscle work is where this disease has real problems.
What parts of the body does ALS affect, and what parts does it leave untouched?
So upper and lower motor neurons are primarily what it affects. And so upper would be like in the brain and spinal cord, and then lower would be outside of the spinal cord, going to muscles throughout the body. But primarily, that's the areas that this particular disease affects.
Does ALS look the same in every person, or does it progress differently?
It can progress totally differently in different individuals. Some individuals will have more in the upper motor neurons affected than lower motor neurons. Some will just have, like, let's say, a paralyzed limb or a very weak limb. And then other people will start to lose the ability to talk or swallow. They can have all kinds of face paralysis issues. It can just affect an arm. So it just kind of depends per individual.
Why can early ALS symptoms be subtle and easy to miss?
Well, it starts out with something in the muscle being weak usually. And the weaker that area gets without properly addressing it and restoring it, it can become a much more general thing that affects the body grossly in all the motor neurons.
Are younger and older patients affected in the same way?
I would say yes. The younger individuals you would think would be stronger nowadays, but nowadays we've got so much stress in this world, and we have 30 trillion cells in our bodies, and this particular disease is affecting nerve cells in particular. But you want to think of those cells. There's nobody that's born with a perfect set of cells that are all perfectly healthy. Everybody has genetic defects, some more than others. And from the moment you start living on planet Earth, those cells, which your body has to deal with physical stresses, emotional stresses, and environmental stresses. And any one of those stresses at any given time can shut off power to your brain to a spot, to a group of cells. And if you don't fix that particular area, it turns into a snowball effect. The next thing you know, you might have 20 different areas that are affected. And the more you're not properly addressing this early on, especially, it can snowball into this effect where those cells are weak, they're not healthy, and the body tries to attack those cells, and that's where this autoimmune thing happens.
Yes.
And then it gets worse.
What happens emotionally when someone is told there is no cure?
This particular disease, if you read about anything, they say there's no cure at all. I disagree, and to a certain degree I do. With this particular condition, if it progresses so fast or too far along, it oftentimes is irreversible. But if we catch it early enough, where people have weaknesses that are maybe unexplained, and they start leaning towards a diagnosis like this, that's when we can really, really help with this particular condition. We've also been able to help that have the condition for a longer period and are more progressed, but it's very hard to reverse it the more it stays in the body. It's like it's like a kryptonite making you weak, and it's hard to reverse that if it gets too much in your body.
Why do ALS symptoms often begin in one area before they start to spread?
So again, as we mentioned, any particular stress on planet Earth can knock off the power. Think about this being your power company, your brain, and it's wired to all these trillions of cells, muscle cells, bone cells. These are all nerves that are wired, right? Muscle cells, the nerves are wired to muscle cells, bone cells, cells, organs and glands. All those cells are wired. So you can imagine any of these stresses that we're encountering can knock off the power to any part of your body. And the longer that stays where your brain doesn't know the power outage is there, it just won't fix it. It's very similar to the city. If you have a bunch of buildings or houses that lose power and they just never call the power company.
Why can strength disappear when sensation and awareness may remain?
So sensation, remember there's input into the brain, and that's called sensory. So some patients with this particular don't really have, they may not have a lot of sensory issues, but they have more motor issues where it's power out into areas.
Many families are told this will progress. Why is that so hard to grasp early on?
Because it's such a debilitating type of condition. When you jump online, we've had patients come to us early on in the diagnosis, and we literally reverse the symptoms entirely. They go back to whoever diagnosed them, and they're like, oh, well, maybe you didn't have it in the first place. They can't understand how the body can repair the connections in the body, but it does if you do the right things. And so it's one of those things with this condition, when you get even the words that you have ALS, some people get so scared because they jump online and they see all the people that have it and are in wheelchairs and can't move and pass away and fall down. There's so many different things they can get. So it's scary.
When someone with ALS comes into your clinic, what do you notice immediately that tests may not fully explain?
So what we do here is radically different than other clinics. We do a full history to get to know the person, see what they've been through, all their physical stresses, emotional stresses, and environmental stresses. And then we do a very detailed neurological exam where we test. You want to think of the brain being here, spinal cord going all the way down. There's 88 nerves that come off the brain and spinal cord. And those 88 nerves literally are like giant power lines, and they connect every cell in your body, which is hard to think about. How God made us, it's wonderfully made, and it's incredibly complex. Like I drew all the nerves in my body. This would be like three-dimensionally full of wires. I mean, it's that many all the way to microscopic. So you can imagine the task your brain has to try your whole life. This one power company for trillions of houses, it's impossible to keep that power supply.
What changes when the nervous system is supported, even as the condition progresses?
So as the condition progresses, if we're able to intervene, and we go through, when the person comes here, we go through that 88 nerve check, and we tell them exactly what percentage powered up they are. Well, just the recognition of that testing, if the brain feels that it's got a weak connection somewhere, then it starts to repair itself. And we have even more advanced procedures that we do where we test output, which is motor, which is this particular disease a lot of times. We also test input. And to every cell in the body, we're trying to do as much as we can to connect the brain. And so when you connect the brain better, everything gets better. The symptoms go away. The weakness gets better. Maybe they had some pain with this particular disorder sometimes, that goes away. But the earlier we catch this, the better. And if it's like we progress, sometimes we are capable of reconnecting things.
Amazing. What happens when care focuses only on the decline instead of quality of regulation and comfort?
Yeah, so the decline it's so crucial with this condition because if you're not addressing the nervous system, especially the way we're doing it, you're just waiting for the snowball gets bigger and bigger and faster down the hill. So it's very important with this particular condition to do whatever you can to get ahead. So we have many different weapons. It's not about just connecting the brain to cells, it's also about the major ingredients like oxygen and water and frequency and grounding. All the things we do here, we really, all the high-level technologies that we have at the Nerve Health Institute, and we combine it with at home to be able to help people through BodyChargers. It's a platform we have. So we this condition, we do all hands on deck, because if you're not aggressive with it, it can just snowball really, really fast.
Dawn, about BodyChargers, what role can that play for someone living with ALS?
Yeah, so if somebody's not able to come to my clinic for whatever reason, geography, money, built out BodyChargers to give people the best resources for home. Some of this particular condition could be nutrient deficiencies. We have a company that you can use in our BodyChargers platform. It has all the products that I recommend personally that I use. It has everything in there to guide you with this particular condition. In BodyChargers, for instance, if you're a member, you just go to the keyword, you go to the search bar at the top, and you just type in ALS, and it'll show everything we recommend for it. And so, like a company we recommend for nutrients tests you do all this wherever you are. It's just being able to sign up and have the right links. We have all that in there. We have frequency devices that people can purchase. So these particular devices you put in your pocket, you have settings that we would recommend to run. And frequency, remember, is like tuning. So each cell in the body has its own respective tune. And unfortunately, they're like guitar strings, and they'll just lose their tune. They lose their tune due to stress affecting them. And certain types of stress can affect certain types of cells in your body. So these devices are able to retune them. There's all the research with it. Over 120 that have been done on these. So chances are you haven't heard of them.
Does creating simple daily habits and routines help the nervous system feel calmer and more supported?
Yes, so absolutely. We Cell Sparking Challenge on our BodyChargers platform. And literally, it's 28 days of teaching you all these basic habits that you need to be doing. And most people are not aware of these tiny things you should be doing on a daily basis to get basic ingredients back in your body. So it could be just as simple as doing a breathing exercise to get more oxygen in your system, as simple as getting more sunlight. There's so many things you can do that don't really cost much in our platform. Then we have higher level things you can go to if you want to for home. And then if people want to get even more advanced, they come to the Nerve Health Institute, and we mesh the two.
Yes, amazing. We've seen public figures, including Stephen Hawking, live publicly with ALS. Why doesn't intelligence, success, or access change the reality of the condition?
So most people don't know any of the things we're talking about here, and I think it's just not publicized enough. I've been at this for almost 3 decades. We have made so many discoveries because I've been on a quest to avoid drugs, injections, and surgeries and maximize the body's ability to heal itself. And so that's where this OWL method came up, that just literally I developed over the years. It's the top ingredient in the human body is oxygen. Everybody should know that, but just not taught that. Most big pharma wants you to think, it's a pill. Technically, it's not. They're really skewing people with this condition that they just can't do anything, and they just drug them up. But there's all kinds of alternatives that will help, but you got to seek out the right resources. So God will give you the resources. You got to use the right resources. And I can't encourage people enough with this condition to come early. If you notice anything in your body that feels weak and it's not recovering, get here as soon as you're able to get here. And if not, then go to BodyChargers and at least start some of our protocols.
Yes. In your own clinic, what are some of the most complex ALS cases you've seen, and what do they tend to have in common, if so?
Really complex ones sometimes are hard manage. They get to the point sometimes where the arms will be paralyzed and the legs aren't functioning really good, and there's a high risk that they're going to fall. And so actually had a patient come to see us one time, really bad shape ALS, and she had gone to another clinic in Miami that did like all these injections and stuff. And there were all these ALS patients from everywhere at that clinic. And one of the ALS patients was walking out and fell and hit their head and actually died.
Oh, my goodness.
So the fear that, and I'll never forget that person that we worked with here, the fear in her eyes that she was going to fall. So that's how progressive this gets. Some people get to the point where they can't talk or they can't swallow. They have trouble breathing. So it can really be detrimental. So the sooner somebody comes here, the better.
If someone has been told that they have ALS and there's nothing that can be done, what assumptions to be questioned first?
They definitely should start to think outside of the box, and not just, if you just keep in the box and just think, oh, that's it, I'm going to die and I'm going to be in a wheelchair, then chances are that's where you'll go. If you say, look, I want to do something different, I want to be open-minded to maybe another type of healthcare that I didn't even know existed.
Yes.
It's about getting my body to heal myself. That's and in speeding that process up, that's where we are.
Yes. What keeps you working with ALS patients when others feel powerless?
So we have the weapons and resources and tools and the training, right? The nervous system is intricately complicated. Your brain, can you imagine every cell in your body's wired to your brain? I mean, it's crazy to think about that. So the methodology that we use involves complicated testing and corrections. In our world, we've been doing it for so long, it's relatively easy for us. But in the people don't even know that this exists. But it literally just means connect your brain. That's the biggest. We have a lot of different things we do here. We're working on cellular health, and we're trying to keep the brain connected to the parts.
What is the most damaging sentence a patient or family can hear early in their ALS journey? That
you're going to just be in a wheelchair and paralyzed and not be able to swallow or talk, and there's no cure for it, and there's no hope, right? So it comes to that. There are plenty of things that can be done, and they just don't know that those things exist, and there is hope. I want to be clear, like, you get to a certain point in this condition, it's really hard to reverse. But we catch it in the beginning phases. Towards the middle phase, we're able to help so much. There is hope, but you just got to use the right resources.
Yes, that is amazing. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Cormier. That does conclude our talk on ALS. Very informative. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And remember, if you have ALS or if you have symptoms like ALS where you're weak, there's hope for you, right? We have BodyChargers, which we created, which is an online portal that has all of our weapons and our methods and techniques to be able to help you. We also have the Nerve Health Institute, which is my clinic, which we have all of the amazing technologies to be able to help connect your brain and get these parts functioning again. So if this is something that you're interested in doing, definitely try to schedule at our office. We have a limited number of spots as this condition is growing, getting more popular, but we'd love to be able to help you in any way we can.